So Babylon's Fall was the thing that happened last year. Did you guys play Babylon's Fall? No? That's honestly probably for the best. Well, if you had plans to play Babylon's Fall, well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but the service has now ended. Yeah, this game literally didn't last even a year. I mean, are we surprised? No. Am I surprised? Absolutely not. But it's a little bit disappointing. You see, Babylon's Fall was the game that I personally was really looking forward to. Originally revealed back in June of 2018 as another collaborative effort between Platinum Games and Square Enix. A lot of people were excited for this, holding it up in high anticipation, mainly because, again, this was another venture with Square Enix and Platinum Games to craft another action RPG, especially coming out of 2017's Nier Automata. I think a lot of people were looking at this being like, okay, well, this is obviously going to use that Nier Automata sort of DNA. Platinum Games are also absolutely godsends when it does come to action RPGs. So how is it possible that this can fail? And those initial trailers of the game looked pretty fantastic. Obviously, time went on, and there was a large space of time there where absolutely no news or information, trailers, was happening. I think a lot of people started to get a little bit worried in the sense of, is this game going through development hell? What is the situation? If we then skip forward to 2021, where they start to fully promote Babylon's Fall, saying that yes, it is coming out in 2022, we start to actually see exactly what this product is, and unfortunately, it's a co-op action RPG that is a live service game. And yes, 100%, I absolutely hay bales whenever I find out that a game I'm personally looking forward to turns out to be a live service setup. There is no bigger hype killer, I feel, personally, than finding out something is going to be spoon-fed to me with the intent of it being over the course of many years to come. And from what we've seen over the past few years when it comes to live service games and Square Enix, unless of course it is something like Final Fantasy XIV, this type of setup just doesn't seem to work. Babylon's Fall isn't the first case. We also had Chocobo GP that released last year, which was meant to be a comeback of the Chocobo racing game from the PlayStation 1 era. I was really excited for this, but then of course all of the reviews came out to say, no, this is actually live service, and there are microtransactions in here, and oh my god, the microtransactions. Square Enix are asking for daddy's credit card for this one. People also had no idea about the whole microtransaction thing until actually purchasing the game and finding out, oh, this is what this game is all about, which was, yeah, a little bit kind of I guess, on Square Enix's behalf. And the demise of this game is that it shut down this year. Then there was, of course, Marvel Avengers, where that service didn't turn out to be too great and had to be shut down too. So, you know, when looking at this, Babylon's Fall, getting the announcement September of last year to basically say, hey, look, sorry guys, we're closing up shop. We do plan to shut down the service of Babylon's Fall come February 27th of next year. I don't think it really shocked too many people, especially if you also look at the interest of Babylon's Fall from basically launch to where it is right now, a dead live service game. Well, it's not actually a live, it's an unlive service. It's a dead service game, I suppose you could say. The interest in this was pretty much little to none straight from the get-go. If we pull up Steam charts and look at how many peak players were playing in the launch month of last year, it was a whopping 1,166. Now, of course, this is just on Steam, but I would say there were certainly some comparable stats when looking at the console versions. Probably a bit more than Steam right here, but again, we're probably looking at a very low player base, and you can see that it absolutely dropped off with the months after. With looking at September and December of last year, getting a whopping 8 to 6 players as the peak, which is not good. Now, as I'm recording this video, the service ended up closing down about half an hour ago, and if we look at the amount of people playing in the last hour of this service being live, it was 4. It was just 4 lone wolves enjoying their final moments in Babylon's Fall. You know, I kind of feel sorry for these people, because no doubt these 4 people that were in for the final hour were likely also the same people that were playing for all of those months. And I'm sure for them, it was a product that they actually really enjoyed, that they actually got a big kick out of. So I kind of feel for them. I just personally think that a lot of interest was just completely lost in this game once, yeah, they ended up showing more of what this game actually is. And like I was saying in my original review of the demo last year, I do feel like Babylon's Fall started off as something a lot different, just judging by that initial gameplay. I think people should know that the game was always intended to be a co-op action RPG, but to the point of it actually being live service, I don't know. I feel like that was actually a decision that was made somewhere along the ways, somewhere around the time of just before the hiatus of Babylon's Fall, around 2020. And the disinterest in this game is certainly warranted because it just felt like it was just totally uninspired. From its very bare bones story to that of the actual world that you're surrounded in, just felt so bland, and I think that kind of goes in part with the visual style, trying to have this kind of oil painting type aesthetic to it with this very annoying filter over the top. This was actually something that they had to address in the demo and tone back a bit, and even with the tone back update of trying to remove that filter and not make it so intense, the game just still didn't look that good, and it's something that wasn't as prominent in those very original pieces of gameplay. So again, I just feel like a lot of the heart and soul of Babylon's Fall was lost somewhere along the way, which is really sad because it looked pretty cool from the beginning. While I certainly appreciate Square Enix being pretty common with dropping demos for their games, this is something that they continue to keep up, which I actually do really respect. I think this is probably the biggest downfall for Babylon's Fall, falling to the great depths it did, is that, yeah, a lot of people ended up trying out this game, and, well, they didn't like what was on their plate. They were like, this food is moldy. What is this? I think, personally, if they hadn't have done that, a lot more people would have initially have bought this game in the beginning, or, of course, either just waited for reviews. But either way, I think that the demo certainly sort of decided the fate of where Babylon's Fall was going to go. Because, like, even if we look at the sales figures of this game, it sold 2,885 copies in the first week of release. This is just in Japan, and then looking at PlayStation 5, it sold 2,224 in that same week. That is incredibly low, especially for two very renowned companies, especially renowned in Japan. That's not a good sign. And then the game being taken off shelves and removed from stores in September last year, the same month that they announced that the service was being terminated this year, it absolutely screams that this is one of those Square Enix titles that are going into the vault to be shut away and never thought about again. What I hope that Square Enix can take away from this is that the live service thing just doesn't seem to be a thing that is currently working for them. I'm sure this will not be the last live service game we see from the company, as of course these kinds of games generate so much money. Of course, so long as the interest is there. I just think because live service has been an apparent thing now for quite a few years in the gaming industry, we're hitting that point where people are starting to get so fatigued with them. People only have so much time to commit to a live service game, and when such a large portion of the new games releasing turn out to be live service games, it ends up being something that really deters people from wanting to even show any interest in that said video game. And I think when, looking at a game like Babylon's Fall, it kind of is the exact result of that. We are starting to become fatigued with these type of setups. The other side of it too is for the people that committed a lot of money into these kinds of things, it means that inevitably this service is going to end. Unless it's something that is just insanely popular, there's a good chance that what you're doing is sinking money into something that will definitely disperse at some point sooner probably rather than later, as we're looking at here with the fate of Babylon's Fall. I really do feel sorry for the people that committed a lot of time to this, got a decent amount of enjoyment out of it, and of course threw a lot of money into it, only for it to be cancelled just under a year later. However guys, that right there is the latest Square Enix scoop. Tally-ho, Babylon's Fall. You definitely served some people well, and a big emphasis on some people. For you other guys out there, well, you probably forgot that this was even a thing. Sorry for reminding you that this thing existed. It's been put to sleep now, so that is the last time I think we'll ever talk about this game. However, guys, I'm Cynical. Hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you dudes real soon. Peace.